When I was in high school in Michigan, I knew with more certainty than I've known anything that I wanted to leave the community where I had grown up, and I wanted to come east to college. And my brother, initially, my older brother, initially introduced me to Wesleyan. He ended up not going to Wesleyan, but I fell in love with the school. And when it came time for me to look at schools, I remember flying out to that airport in Hartford, borrowing the car of one of my brother's friends who was at Wesleyan, and driving all over the Northeast to interviews at colleges and universities throughout the Northeast, but then always returning to Wesleyan. And that's kind of where my heart was always returning to. And I ended up applying early decision to Wesleyan because I knew that was the place that I wanted. And with respect to what it was that was most lasting about my experience at Wesleyan, I have to be honest, I met my wife at Wesleyan, and she is now a trustee here at Wesleyan. So our connection to Wesleyan is strong, not only because my wife's participation on the board, but because we both have that shared experience. But beyond that, I was in the College of Letters at Wesleyan, and there really isn't anything about a particular course that I fall back on, but it's about the kind of critical thinking that was part of my Wesleyan education, that's part of everything that I've done since being at Wesleyan. And it's the notion that ideas really matter, and words matter, and words are powerful. In my career, images are powerful, but you combine those with important, well-crafted words, and the combination can be dazzling if done right. So in sum, I think Wesleyan just taught me that ideas and language matter. And I've been so fortunate that I've figured out a career path that enabled me to integrate those things. I think Wesleyan attracts a particular type of student, and they're not the student that necessarily adopts the most obvious career paths. It's not a careerist-oriented curriculum or community. It's not a school where people come in knowing that they're going to go to Wesleyan for 4 years, and then they're going to get their MBA, and then they're going to go to Wall Street, or they're going to go to law school, and they're going to go work for a big firm. There are people who do that, but it's a school that attracts people that are constantly questioning authority, questioning their own identities, finding their own identities, and that's what makes it such a vibrant, dynamic community. And I think that for me, and for I think so many of my classmates and students throughout the years who come out of Wesleyan, they come away not necessarily knowing what they're going to do with the rest of their lives. I certainly didn't, and I was panic-stricken about not knowing what I was going to do. But I had a totally unfounded confidence that I could do virtually anything. And it was that feeling of empowerment that I attribute to Wesleyan. I was naive about the barriers to doing things that I wanted to do. Even when I was offered the opportunity to make my first documentary, it turns out that the head of WNET had circulated a memo. There was an article in the New York Times, hey, we ought to do a film about this. And I responded, I think that's a great idea. And he said, okay, raise the money and make the film. And I said, oh, okay. And I had no idea, partially because of this empowerment that I got from Wesleyan, that there was anything daunting about that challenge. I just embraced it and went about doing it, and I think partially it was my naivete that propelled me forward into doing this. So if there was any one quality that I got, and I think people in general get from their Wesleyan education, it's this conviction that they can make things happen, and that the path is often circuitous to where you're going, but the steps along the way, none of those are wasted. Even paths that are dead end are such valuable experience in forming who you are and who you become. I had a wonderful stint teaching, and I knew it wasn't what I was going to do with my career, but it wasn't a dead end. It was a stepping stone to what came next, and I think Wesleyan also equipped me with the ability to pursue this circuitous path to the career that I would ultimately find.